Japan stuck in is learning English.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips?
For learning English, I'd say the main thing about learning languages is being comfortable with ambiguity and confidence. Not worrying about the specifics of things to begin with, because the people I know that are best at languages, you wouldn't normally say they're the smartest people, right? But they're the people that allow things to flow more, if you understand what I mean. So for example, I've had teaching experience all over, and more technological minded people in high professions, so like doctors, programmers, things like that, they actually find language harder to learn because when they think about vocabulary and learning things like that, they're very specific. They don't allow for any ambiguity with like learning, and I think if you focus on that, you're stunning your growth. You have to like be okay with things and then develop from there. It's like me, I have a very technological mind, and then like I analyze it. I want a very definitive answer on like certain vocabulary, and it's not the way to go. So yeah, I'd say just and then confidence as well is like huge. Like use your language as much as you can. That's the two things that I think Japanese people have a difficulty with learning language, is using it and ambiguity with things. Like Japanese are very precise with things too.
For me, I think they have some challenges with communication, not with only English, and that affects their English learning skill. So I was an English teacher actually. So yeah, the thing is that they are shy, they are scared to try, they don't actually value the communication, and they are not good communicators. That's why it affects the English language learning, affects any other language.
Yeah, with Japanese I do know, I've retained mostly from being around people and in the experience of learning, right? It's not like you telling me something, it's rare that I retain that. So I think having the confidence to go out and experience things, you learn a lot quicker.
So, do you know a lot of British people in Japan?
No, a lot more Americans and Swedish. Not so many British, but I think it's changing. You know, a lot more British are coming. I hear from other people. There's lots of British people. They know a British person here, but yeah, my own experience, Swedish and American more so.
So, how not learning Japanese affect your life in Japan?
I had this conversation with a friend very recently. And it pretty much comes down to, in business situations and everything like that, in a lot of situations, even my friends that are pretty much fluent with Japanese, they end up getting assistance from somebody they know who's Japanese, right? Because there's a level of Japanese, level of keigo when it comes to those things. So it's like, for me, it might seem strange that I don't speak fluent Japanese, but it's speaking with other people that live here, they kind of understand it, because what it's going to enable me to do is pretty much do really boring stuff that I need to do, so let's say like taxes, forms, things like that, where you need like those high level of Japanese. Everything else you can pretty much like get by with conversational level of Japanese or living and learning things. So, but like I said, even my bilingual friends, when it comes to that sort of stuff like taxes or anything like that, they ask for help with other people, like the Japanese people.
So, do you think that your experience and your business experience would it be increased if you had speaking Japanese fluently?
No, I think it would just improve social life.
Nice.
Just social life, but then again, friends. But the thing is, like, this is the thing. Okay, so somebody who, this is the really weird thing. It's hard to explain. Like, somebody who just speaks Japanese. It's going to sound ignorant, but I think if you live here, you'd understand a bit more. A person who just speaks Japanese, fully just Japanese, they're not going to be a person that I'm going to want to be friends with anyway, because there's a lot of other things that happen with the culture and like that, and how the person would be if they just speak Japanese and they're just in the Japanese sort of bubble. So, because your whole mind changes when you speak Japanese, okay? So, yeah. So in my experience, like, I gel more with people that speak a bit of English, and it's not because of the language thing, it's because of their mentality. The mentality changes, and what they're into and what they enjoy and what they like and how they are as a character will change. So, yeah.
So, you know, the current situation now is more like a crisis, right? So, what do you think about this? How you see Japan and how you see yourself in Japan for this?
So I have to make the decision of whether to stay in Japan or not. At the moment, Japan hasn't blown up like other countries. Everyone's worried that it's going to happen, but I think we have to, like, for me, going back to the UK, really difficult, because I'll go back, be in quarantine and everything like that, and everything's on lockdown. But at least in Japan, there's the potential at the moment that it won't happen, so I think hopefully, I kind of want it to go on lockdown, so it doesn't get even crazier. I think they're stubborn. I think Japan's been stubborn with it, mostly. I don't really trust any government, But definitely Japan has like a public record, right? Fukushima and all that sort of stuff of like not doing things or lying about it. And the same with China. China did that. They kept it from the rest of the world that this pandemic was like, or this virus was spreading until it became a pandemic. So, and they had the Olympics as well to like worry about. It's a lot of not knowing, a lot of trying not to panic. I think it's really important because every time I look at the news, it's just like awful news, and it's really bad out there. But to be healthy, you need your mind healthier too. So try and focus on positive things that you can do to get by. I think the potential for Japan to get bad, like the US, is there, but whether or not it will happen, I don't know. So I think Japan has definitely been negligent. They tried to protect themselves. They tried to protect like the Olympics. I mean, when it came to like Hanami, that should have been locked down before they like. It was another week until they said like don't go to Hanami festivals, like cherry blossom festivals, right? Well, we're up to what? How many thousands of people now? 8,000 infected. That's the thing, it's only at like 500 or something, and it's just raised like crazy within the past week. So, and we were careful about like what we went to eat, like, and we're careful with each other as well, like not doing anything. But it's hard.